Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Gopika Jeevan Smaranam Govinda Govinda. Nandasunum Radhikam Cha Bhavayantam Sada Hri Devam Gurudevam Tam Krishna Premarasa Pradam Kalaye Sundarakaram Sadaika Priyadarsam Jnana Nashakam Devam Satgurum Muralidharam Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Nandagopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha Nama Sankirtanam Yasya Sarva Papa Pranasanam Pranamo Dukkha Samanaratam Namami Harim Param Govinda Nama Sankirtanam Govinda Govinda. By the immense blessings of Krishna, I am assigned to talk about Bhishmacharya and his Stuti in Srimad Bhagavata. In the Prathama Skanda in Bhagavata consists of lot of very important Stutis. In fact, Bhagavata is called the Stuti Mala. So we had the blessing of enjoying Kunti Stuti. Now we are going to see about the Bhishma Stuti, which is in the 9th chapter of the first skanda. Bhagavatam has 12 cantos. In the first canto, which is in Sanskrit, is called skanda. The first skanda, Prathama skanda. Then we have the Navamodhyaya. We have the Stuti, the prayer of Bhishma. Actually, in this great country, Bharatavarsha, ever since the creation happened, there are basically two generations or Vamsas, what we call the lineage. One is Surya Vamsa, the other is Chandra Vamsa. In Surya Vamsa, it was started by Swayambhuva Manu. He was a son of Surya, so that is why it's called the Surya Vamsa. And lot of kings came, including Dasharatha Chakravarti and Sri Rama. Then the ending of Surya Vamsa happened. There is another Vamsa which is called the Chandra Vamsa. In Chandra Vamsa, lot of kings came down. These are the two main Vamsas. In the one emanated from Surya, the other emanated from Chandra, the moon. So Chandra is a Devata. We should know. It is not the moon we see. It is not the Surya we see. For that Surya to function, there is a Devata. That Devata we are talking, Surya Devata or Chandra Devata. So that Vamsam is called Soma Vamsa or Chandra Vamsa. In that Vamsa, there are a lot of kings. Some of the famous kings were the king Bharata, and then Dushyanta. Dushyanta's son was Bharata. All these people came, and then Nahusha was a very great king. After Nahusha, Yayati. Yayati is very, very famous king called Yayati. In Yayati's Vamsha only, Yayati has some sons, two wives. One wife was Devayani, the other wife was Sarvishta. The person who was born to Sarvishta, his third son was Puru. The Puru exchanged his youth life with his father because Yayati had some curse by his father-in-law Shukracharya. So they made an adjustment that the youngest son and the father exchanged their lives. And then Yayati continued to enjoy his life, whereas the son suffered the old age for his father, and then Yayati gave it back. So something like that happened. So this story could have been heard in Puranas. In that lineage, it comes one of the kings was Kuru. He was the king of the Kurukshetra area. So it is called as Kuru Vamsa. In that Vamsa, one very famous king came. He was Shantanu Maharaja. So Shantanu was a very, very famous king. So anybody who Shantanu touches, their youth comes, they even if they are old, they become younger. This is the greatest boon that he had, Shantanu. Shantanu was a very, very dharmic, very righteous king, very great man. He had 4 brothers. He started managing the earth, the mother earth, and then for 4 direction he made his 4 brothers in charge, and then he was managing the things from Hastinapura. So his name was Shantanu. Shantanu was one day roaming. He was not married at the time. Shantanu was a very, very dharmic king, I told you. So Ganga, the river Ganga, as I told you, what you see, the physical Ganga is the physical form, whereas the Ganga Devata, the Nadi Devata is there. She is in the heavens. She is in the Swargaloka. So she had a curse. So she had to take a human form and give birth to some children. What has happened? An old story that the Kamadevanu was a divine cow. It originated from the Milky Ocean when it was churned. So the Kamadevanu it was decided that Kamadevanu will be available with the Sapta Rishis for their Homa and Agni Gotram and other things, because they need ghee and other things. And milk, all the things are required for Yajna. So Kamadevanu was given to Sapta Rishis and Vasishta was taking care of it. Once the Kamadenu's daughter, like that, it was called Nandini. That cow was called, divine cow was called Nandini. Once in Deva's clan, we have, they say 33. There is a number which say there are 33 types of Devas. In Tamil, they say Muppattu Mukkodi. They say Muppatti Mundu, 33. How this 33 comes is that there are Adityas, Rudras, Vasus, and then Ashwini Kumaras. All these 4 combined, the 33. How is, there are 12 Adityas. There are 12 Adityas. For the 12 months, the sun has 12 names. That is 12 Adityas. Adityanam Aham Vishnu. Bhagavan says, out of the Adityas, I am the Aditya called Vishnu, by name Vishnu. So, and then there are 11 Rudras. Rudras came out of Brahma himself. So Rudras, there are 11 Rudras. So 12 plus 11. And then there are Ashta Vasus. There are 8 Vasus. Drona and other 8 Vasus are there. They have names for them. And Ashwini Kumaras, 2, they are always together. So if you add this 12 plus 11 plus 8 plus 2, you will get 33. So this is the basis of the number 33. And the Ashtavasus once wanted to steal Nandini, because they wanted to try something for whatever reason. What happened? They had one leader Vasu, that his name was Drona. That Drona, what happened? That Vasu, he and his wife, they planned. All the other 7 Vasus only supported him. So they stole Vasishta's cow, Nandini, and then they took it away. And then Vasishta found it out, and then Vasishta gave a curse that this Vasu, being a Deva, is behaving in a very, very nasty way. So this fellow is liable to be born as a human being. But he also said that because he did it, so all the 8 Vasus would be born in this earth, and then one of them will lead a life of what is called secluse, or he is alone in this world for so many years, 300 years, 400 years, human years, and then he leaves, and then he comes back to his world. The other 7 Vasus would be born. The moment they are born, their karma is over, they will come back to heavens. But the curse is that they have to take the human form. So this was the curse of Vasishta. So accordingly, they were born, all the 8 Vasus were born to Ganga. So that is the secret behind this thing. So Ganga had a curse. And then Ganga was forced to be born as a human form, human lady. So with this background, when Ganga has to come as a human form, he is a Devata. She can only go to a very righteous, dharmic king. So her obvious choice was Shantanu at that time. So she came down, and then one day when Shantanu was riding on his horse, he saw Ganga. He immediately fell in love with her. That that because of her beauty and tejas, whatever it is, Ganga Mata is Ganga Mata. So Shantanu wanted to marry her. So at that time, Ganga Mata, he did not know. Shantanu did not know that it was Ganga. He thought some ordinary human woman who is very beautiful and having all the good characters, so he can bring her as his wife. So she did not tell the background, obviously, because it is a Deva Ragasya. She can't let it out. So what happens? She puts only one condition. What was that condition? Whatever I do, if you want to marry me, Maharaj, fine, you are welcome. But provided you are not supposed to ask me any question. Whatever I do, you are not supposed to interfere. It's a very beautiful condition. Even today, we go through such conditions in matrimonial alliances. People prefer a lot of freedom, and there are so many problems happening in this world. When somebody asks another question, why you are late, or to whom you are talking, then people become very angry. So that tradition possibly was started by Ganga Mata, I don't know. So what happens? Shantanu was in such a condition that he has nothing to say, because a beggar cannot be a chooser. So he decided to marry her. So whatever condition she was saying, he agreed. Okay, if marriage happens, it is fine. That was his condition. So, but he never expected, that she would behave in a different way, because she was from a very noble background. That was the condition of upbringing in those days. Women were women and men were women, and the Sanatana Dharma was followed, and everybody follows a particular code of conduct. So that was the Bharata Varsha, which was under. And then Shantanu himself was a very famous king. Nobody can afford to play with him. So he married Ganga, and then one by one children started coming. So the first child was born. Ganga Devi, that the woman took the child and went to Ganga and then threw it away. Shantanu was so patient. First time, second time, third time, fourth time. He could not do anything. He was literally crying because one by one he was seeing his own sons being thrown into the Ganga. That lady was so cruel. The day the labor pain happened, Shantanu was shivering. Every time the child comes out, it is thrown into Ganga. What is this happening? We don't know. We don't know why this is happening. That was the state of. He was in a very, very pathetic state. He cannot ask her. Suppose if he asks her, then it is like breaking the agreement. Then she has threatened him that she would walk out of the marriage, which Shantanu did not want. He did not want such a situation in his life. He does not want to lose his wife. So this was his problem. So he was very, very adamantly quiet, but having all the pains inside, obviously. And when the 8th child was being born, that lady did the same thing. That woman was carrying the child, and Shantanu could bear it anymore. So he started chasing her and pulled the baby out of her. What the hell are you? This is totally unfair. You have thrown totally 7 children into the river Ganga. And who are you actually? Are you a human being? A normal human mother cannot do this. You cannot behave like this to a child. Even if a small baby is born, whatever out of any animal, suppose a cruel animal like lion or tiger sees the baby also, it doesn't eat it. It start cradling it. That is the greatness of any. If any snake comes, if a baby is lying, snake won't do anything. Even the most cruel animals are showing love and affection towards baby, because babies are like Bhagavan himself. They don't have any gunas. They don't have Sattva guna, Rajo guna, Tamo guna. They are like, Parabrahmam Jagannath. They are, the baby has no feeling of self. When one person is not having the feeling of self, he is not threat to anybody. So he is existing like a tree or anything. The baby is like that. And baby is so beautiful. And if you are killing babies, then it's something wrong. I cannot bear it. So immediately that lady stopped throwing that baby and then told him, you have broken the vow. We cannot continue anymore in this wedlock. So I am walking out. This son I am not killing. I will bring him up. I will give it to you at a suitable time. That lady told and vanished. So Shantanu was totally broken because he not only lost all his 8 sons but also his wife. So, but in the place of his wife, he does not want to replace. So he was roaming around for around 15 years, 20 years. He was living, in memory of his wife only. He did not marry again. He was roaming. One day, his mind was always on the river banks of Ganga, because that was where his wife disappeared. So he believed that lady would come one day and be with him and also bring his son. One day when Shantanu was riding through the banks of Ganga, he saw a 16-year-old boy who was so charmful, so charismatic, well built, and then he was using bows and arrows, and then he was playing. It was such a wonderful view that Ganga was flowing full, but this boy started one by one throwing arrows with his archery skills, with his what we call it as Astra Vidya. Because of the mantras and other things, he was blocking the flow of Ganga. He was almost building a bridge, a dam-like thing with his arrows, with his mantra bala. A 16-year-old boy. Shantanu cannot believe it, but his tejas, his brightness was so nice. That boy looked exactly like Shantanu. Shantanu had some doubt. Who is he? The moment a father looks at his son, the father has a unique feeling that he's my son. That feeling came to Shantanu. So Shantanu went to that boy. That boy, having looked at Shantanu, he immediately ran into Ganga. And then he disappeared. So Shantanu was totally spellbound. He could not do anything. Like his wife, the small boy also running into Ganga and vanished. So he could not understand, because in a human form you can't understand somebody going and just disappearing into river Ganga. So when he was sitting there crying, praying, suddenly his wife appeared with that boy alongside her. So Shantanu was very happy. He said, after 16 years, 17 years, I am looking at you. I am meeting you. It's a great feeling. Where are you and other things, She was so affectionate. She revealed certain things. She told Shantanu, oh, my dear Pati, I am not anymore his wife. Please understand. I am the Ganga, the river Ganga herself. The Ganga Devata. Out of curse, I was forced to born on this earth. Okay. But you are the best husband that I could choose on this earth because of your dharmic values. And I am also destined to have one son out of me. I was destined to have 8 sons through the curse of Vasishta, Ashta Vasus born on this earth. And then 7 of them already went back. Those 7 children whom I threw into Ganga, they were having only karma for that particular muhurta. 40 minutes they are supposed to live in this world, and then they have to go back into their world. So I did that. As per the rule, I did that. Don't feel that I was cruel and other things. These things is beyond our comprehension. We cannot understand these things. I cannot afford to explain to you also the secrets of devas. I cannot explain to you. So Ganga was so affectionate, and then as any devata, they are affectionate for a purpose. And then devaha swakarya kushalaha. Once their curse is over, then no more Ganga is bound to Shantanu. Ganga said, I am entrusting my son, our son, to you. He is named as Satyavrata. He is named as Devavrata, not Satyavrata. He is named as Devavrata. And I have brought him up in the most cherishable way. Any father or mother could bring up his son. This is the ideal way, because I have requested, I have put this boy, Devavrata, under the tutelage of the Deva Guru Brihaspati. So from Brihaspati, he has learned all the Shastras and Vedas. So he is an erudite scholar in our scriptures. And then being a Kshatriya, born out of a Kshatriya father, so he has to be a king tomorrow. So he needs Dhanurveda Shastra. So for Dhanurveda, I have requested Parasurama to tutelage. So Parasurama, Bhagavan's avatar, was kind enough to be his guru. So he had two great men as guru. One is Deva Guru Brihaspati, was his Acharya, and then Parasurama. So this boy, Devavrata, I am entrusting to you. He will do service to you. He will take care of you in the most possible way in my absence. Now I have to go to my world. Please forgive me. Like that, Ganga told, and Ganga entrusted. And this boy was looking at, he was looking at his own mother leaving the earth. And he was so matured. 16 years, he was brought up by his mother, divinely Mother Ganga. And he had all the Shastras up his fingers. There is no Shastra which Bhishma is not aware. Bhishma is such a grand character in Mahabharata. If somebody, to whom somebody we want to give award with all the respect as Bharata Ratna, Bhishmacharya is the real Bharata Ratna. There is no character, there is no human form which we can equate to Bhishma. That is the Devavrata. Devavrata, why he was called as Bhishma, I will narrate little later, because unless we know the greatness and his life of Bhishma and his sacrifice that he does for this earth, for this humanity, for the society, Bhishma is such a great character. Every day we must think of Bhishma and the kind of sacrifice that he has done for. There is one Bhishmashtami. We have Bhishma, Ratha Saptami and all we are doing. Why we are doing? Because in reverence of Bhishma only. So his name was Devavrata, I told you. Shantanu was so happy to get his son. On one side, he was unhappy that he could not get his wife back. So he brought his son to Hastinapura and he made him the Yuvaraja, the prince. So Bhishma started fighting, and then Devavrata expanded the Kuru Rajya, because all the enemy kings he was fighting, and then he was such a grand prince. Nobody could beat him because he is a disciple of Parashurama. So we must know his background. At this time, what happened? There is a sudden change in Shantanu's life. One day, Shantanu now no more expecting his wife Ganga to come back. So as a king, he was needing a wife. So at the time, what happened, when he was traveling somewhere here and there on the banks of the river Yamuna, there was one girl who was called, actually her name was Satyavati, but he was very fondly called as Machagandhi. Machagandhi means the one who has the smell of fish, because he belongs to the tribe who are fishermen and then who are also doing the boating. They help people to cross Yamuna. This is their family job, clan. They are focusing into this, their profession. So his father was a boatman and she also does boating. So under this situation, what has happened is, one day Shantanu saw her. Shantanu was crossing Yamuna, and of course his Machagandhi was rowing the boat. At the time, what happened, because of her beauty, Shantanu was very well attracted. So Shantanu thought he can marry. Shantanu declared that I am Shantanu, I am the king. So obviously when the king was there, all the people in the surrounding villages, came and met him. And then Shantanu, when he told, can I marry the girl? Because he was still a Kannika. Can I marry her? Then that girl's father, that fisherman told, O king, out of your previous marriage, you already have one son. When my daughter is married, and if she is bearing your sons, they will not have any share in the kingdom. And obviously, we belong to fisherman community. And your elder son, your eldest son, Devavrata is a true Kshatriya. We cannot match him. We cannot match him. So, even if Devavrata is very soft and polite, and if he is giving the part of the kingdom to my grandsons, for some reason, Devavrata's sons would one day come back and fight and snatch it. We are no way matched to your son. So it is not possible that we give our daughter to you. It is not possible. Like that he told, and then he refused. Shantanu, okay, being a king, he cannot force anybody, because marriage is out of mutual consent, and parents have to agree for some reasons. And whatever conditions that fisherman was putting, Shantanu cannot agree, because he cannot sideline Devavrata. It is not possible. Devavrata is Devavrata. He is Ganga's son. And he is like, Shantanu himself. Shantanu was so attached to his son. Who won't be attached to a son like Devavrata, who is having all the knowledge in this world, who cannot be beaten by anybody in war, and above all this is very good behavior and character, and he treats his own father like God. That's a beauty. See, Veda says, Pitrudevo Bhava. When the father is nothing, father is God himself. You cannot treat your father as a human. Your father is God himself. Pitrudevo Bhava. Who has proved these things right? Bhagavan Ramachandra Murti came down on this earth, and then he Pitruvakya Paripalana. He wanted to respect his father's words, father's boon to his stepmother. Rama went to forest. That is Rama's greatness. That is Rama's greatness. Another person who loved his father so much was, I told you, this Yayati's son. His son was Puru. Puru gave his youthfulness, his young age to his father. Whatever he can enjoy with his youthfulness, he gave it to his father, and he exchanged. He made his father enjoy. This is a wonderful thing that it has happened on this earth. They are really Pitru Bhaktas. And here, Rama went to forest for 14 years and then came back. Puru did it for some time, for say 20 years, 15 years, and then Yayati gave back. Here, this man Devavrata goes one step higher and surrenders his entire life for his father. He is the greatest Pitru Bhakta that we can ever imagine. That is the beauty of Devavrata. What has happened since Shantanu did not want to compromise on his sons and his life and his crowning, so he quietly came back. But his heart was filled with love and affection for Machagandhi, Satyavati. But he could not eat, he could not sleep, he could not drink. So he was in a kind of feeling. He was always feeling that he is not having such a wife. So as the Pitru Bhakta, very devoted son, Devavrata was observing his father. Why father is like this? He's normally a cheerful man. From morning to night he does his duties. He is highly dharmic, highly righteous. He never talks ill of others. He always talks truth only. So he is such a man. The most courageous man I have ever met on this earth is my father, Shantanu. What happened to him? Why he is not cheerful? So then he felt. Then he took his Sarath, his driver, the person the charioteer, who runs the chariot for Shantanu and asked him, what happened? Where did my father go? What happened to Appa? Why he is like this? Then he said, I'm not supposed to say, but still you are the Yuvaraja, you are the prince. I'm telling you the truth. Father fell in love with Machagandhi, but they put some condition. Because of that, king did not want to compromise your well-being, so he came. Then Devavrata thought, when Appa was so concerned about me, and without my father, I would not have adventured in this world. What I am today, this piece of body, is blessed by my father. The good things, the bad things, or suppose the great things. Suppose if I am telling Bhagavata Mahapurana, is because it is my father's blessing. Because my father read Bhagavatam. He is reading Bhagavatam. Even today, even at this moment, he is reading Bhagavatam. It is because of my father. Because of my father, I am here today. So a man, a boy, has to be devoted to his father throughout his life. Even after the father is gone, this relationship continues. So this Devavrata thought, when my father thought about my well-being, I have to do service to my father. First, I have to make my father happy. It is not a good son's character that, let father make me happy, then I make him happy. No. First, the son has to make the father happy. But before that, my father has always cared for. Because of my father only, I was blessed as a son of Ganga. Because of my father only, I was blessed as, my mother took me to Brihaspati. Because of my father only, I got Parasurama as my tutor. All the good things. Because of my father only, I became the prince. Everything what I use, what I am today, is nothing but Atmavai Putra Namas. The father himself is born as the son. So father and son are not different, especially the eldest son. The first son of the man is the man himself. So Devavrata went to Machagandhi's father, the fisherman folk. He went and, because the prince has come, everybody again assembled. So Devavrata was as majestic as ever. He was not only an young boy, but also the future king. So the command was there, because he's Shantanu's son, Ganga's son. So he was controlling everybody with his love and affection. At the same time, with his presence, mere presence, he was able to control. He was such a knowledgeable person. He is aware of all Shastras. And then, he himself was a great warrior. And then his discipline and his character gave him all the strength to manage all the people. So all the people are readily obeying this Devavrata. So he called for that old man. He said, my dear grandfather, what can I do for you? Please ensure that your daughter marries my father. That is the only condition. He said, it is not possible, young man, not possible. Because you are a good man, I know. You may entertain your brothers, step-brothers tomorrow. What will happen to your sons? You will get married and there will be Kshatriya lions would be born out of you. They will all take the arrow and bow and fight my sons, my grandsons. And they will be killed in a minute. And then they will take all the Rajya and other things, kingdom and other things. So what is the purpose? As long as you are there, you can protect my sons. But your family, your generation will not allow it. They won't allow the property to be split. It is not possible. So I don't want my generation to go like that. I don't want them to die early in war. Moreover, we are fishermen folk. We cannot fight with bows and arrows and swords and other things. We are not Kshatriyas. So this is not possible. Then Bhishma says, this is your problem. On one side, my father is unhappy. My father is unhappy. There is no person in this world who is more closer to me than my dad, my father. He is such a great man. So I can sacrifice anything for my father. I want to see my father happy. This is the greatness of this boy, Devavrata, who was around 18 years old at that time. He was about to be married because he was handsome, he was knowledgeable, he was the greatest warrior, And all the kingdoms in the Bharatavarsha would be loving their daughters to send their princess to this man. That was his greatness. He can go to any Swayamvara and get as many girls can marry him. It was permitted for him. And then he was the upcoming prince also. And again, he was the prince and then the upcoming king. He can be the Chakravarti. So that was the situation of Devavrata. But he pushed everything away. He pushed everything away. They are all nothing. I don't want to focus. What I want to focus is my father's happiness. If I am born as a son, my first priority is to make my father happy. So, what do you want? Your problem is me? Okay, I make a vow. I make a vow. You are not happy with my words that, I will ensure that my step brothers also get a share in the kingdom because you are afraid about my generation, my offshoot. Then I am giving you the greatest vow which nobody has ever done. Please give your daughter to my father. Let him be happy. I sacrifice my married life. Throughout my life, I will be a Krishna Bhakta. I will be devoted to Krishna only. I would not even think of marriage, or I will not even think of any dasis. I will not have any unofficial relationship. This is, I am giving this pledge in front of everybody, all devatas and time, and in the presence of Sri Krishna in my heart. I am giving this pledge. Then this man Devavrata raised his hand and please give your daughter to my father, and I will sacrifice my love, my life. When this was happened, all the devas on the heavens, they played their drums, dundubi, dum 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 dum, and then they were showering the flowers, and then there was a sound from the sky, bish, 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 which means that nobody can take a pledge like this. Nobody can ever think of such a life at the age of 16 or 18. His full life ahead is there, and then he is surrendering the entire life for his father's happiness. This is impossible. Bhishma, Bhishma, Bhishma. Then Devavrata was called as Bhishma, 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 the one who has taken the most dangerous pledge in his life, the toughest pledge of Brahmacharya. Brahmacharya, my eyes, my ears, my tongue, my skin, my mind, my buddhi, my prana, everything will be surrendered to Krishna only. It will not be my eyes won't see any other thing. My ears will not listen anything other than Krishna's greatness. My tongue would not talk about anything other than Vishnu Sahasranama. My body will not serve anything other than Krishna devotees. I surrender my entire thing to Krishna. That is Brahmacharya. Brahmacharya is not only being unmarried. People think, if you are not married, then being a bachelorship. That is not Brahmacharya. Brahmacharya is something different. If somebody is called a Brahmachari, he may not be a Brahmachari, as long as mind is not in Brahmacharya. If somebody is married, you cannot dare to call him not a Brahmachari, because Krishna, Parvati Parameshwara, Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, so many great men lived on this earth. And then, they were married. Krishna was married 16,000 times, but he was still a Brahmachari. Brahmacharyam is not about producing children or something. Brahmacharyam is controlling the mind. The mind should be out of pleasure and displeasure. Mind should be beyond likes and dislikes. The feeling of me and I, me, mine, these two seeds have to go out of our mind, our body, our thoughts. Then only it is Brahmacharya. Brahmacharya means all the senses to be in Krishna Seva. Every sense has a Brahmacharya. If the eyes see those things which you are not supposed to see, then the eyes are losing its Brahmacharya. The ears, if they listen something which you are not supposed to hear, We are very happy to hear about, somebody is doing stuti on me. You are great man, nice man, good man. Then these ears are losing its brahmacharya. Or if somebody is blamed, I want to hear. Then the ears lose the brahmacharya. If the tongue tastes something which we are not supposed to eat, or if you speak certain rubbish, if I talk about my own self, then, or if I talk something bad about others, then the tongue loses its brahmacharya. The tongue is only to say Krishna, Krishna, Krishna. The eyes are to see Krishna, and then the ears are supposed to listen to Bhagavatam. So brahmacharya is in a totally different context, in a totally different context. But Bhishma vowed to be a brahmachari throughout his life, and then he lived to his lost word till his lost breath. That is his greatness. He sacrificed his life. Nobody could believe this has happened. So Bhishma came back, and then this Machagandhi, his father sent men to Shantanu. We are very happy. Your son came. We are really happy to offer our daughter to you. Shantanu was shocked. What happened? How can it change over a night? No, your son came. Devavrata came. You don't have a son. You are the angel. He is an angel. An angel is born as a son to you. He is such a great man. In his 18 years, he is so mature. He has sacrificed his entire life. Shantanu was broken into pieces. He was literally crying. He was heartbroken. He was crying to Bhishma. Why did you do this, Devavrata? I would have never allowed you to do it. My life is already over. I am an old man now. I am in my 40s. What is there for me? Now it is your life. You have to live your life. How can you afford to surrender your life for the pledge that you have taken? Is totally unacceptable. So many things Shantanu was telling, but Bhishma was very firm. No, my dear father, if you wish something, then I am alive. It is my duty to ensure it. That is my vrata. That is my puja. So this is my dream. So I have done it with your blessings. Please bless me. Then Shantanu was crying, and then Shantanu embraced, hugged his son, and put his hands on his head and said, "You will be a Chiranjeevi. Nobody can kill you. As long as you wish to live on this earth, you will live. You become a Swachanda Mrityu. Your death time, where to die, this would be decided by you, not by anybody else, even not by Bhagavan. Please understand. You are called Swachanda Mrityu, who is independent to choose his own death time, death place, death bed. And the way you want to die, everything you can choose. I bless you, my son, because even my blessing is not equivalent to your sacrifice. What you have sacrificed is nobody can do. You are really a Bhishma, the one who did a sacrifice which another human being cannot even dream of, their wildest dream. So understand. So Shantanu blessed. Then Shantanu got married. To Satyavati, Machagandhi, and then he had 2 sons out of that marriage, Rukmangada and Vichitravidya. Rukmangada and Vichitravidya, this Vichitraviryan and Rukmangada. Vichitraviryan was there, and Rukmangadan, there were 2 Gandharvas are there who are Chitrarataha, Rukmangadaha. So one of the Gandharvas came and fought with Rukmangada, this Vichitraviryan and Rukmangada. And Rukmangada was killed in that war. So Bhishma lost one brother in that fight with the Chitrarataha. The fight happened because the Gandharva went and fought with him because of a simple reason that both of them shared the same common name. The Gandharva was so upset. how can a fellow on this earth use my name? So he came and fought with him and killed him. So he was killed. So there was only one brother left. His name was Vichitravirya. Vichitravirya was highly lusty person. He was, but he wanted to marry, but his body, physique, and other are not supportive. He was not only having lot of lust, but also diseases, weakness. A person who is having lot of lust cannot have a long life because the body becomes weak. So for your body to be strong, your mind has to be strong. So that what happened, Bhishma knew that his brother cannot go and perform any act of this valor or bravery to win the hearts of the Rajakumars or the princess. So Kashi Raja announced the Swayamvara of his 3 daughters. The king of Kashi announced a Swayamvara where the kings can go and declare that we have come for the marriage, and it is like a market where the Rajakumaris can select. They can select, a fresh unmarried prince also, or a prince who is already married 10 times also. It all depends. Because it depends on how many times, it does not depend on how many times you are married, whether you are still having the value to get married. If some lady wants to marry you, because if a lady marries a person in Kshatriya who is not a warrior, then what happens is that person cannot protect his fort, protect his people, protect his wives, protect his sons. So enemies will come and kill him. Then throughout her life, she has to live as a widow or a concubine to somebody. So this is a problem for the Kshatriya woman those days. So these women always choose the best of the best. So when they choose the best warrior, they are assured of the protection. Even if they are the 10th wife or 12th wife or the 50th wife, it is fine for them, because that man protects somebody grabbing his girl. So that is one thing. And then the sons will have the kingdom also, because he is always on the winning mode. He goes and fights, and he takes over the kingdoms. So this is with respect to the Swayamvara. So those days Rajakumaris were given the free hand to choose. So the women always choose the best. And we have to be respectable to motherhood, because it has been the women who always chose the best and ensured that we are better. So that was the greatness. So this Bhishma went as a proxy. He knew that Vichitravirya cannot go there. Because he was not a warrior. He was not capable. So on behalf of Vichitravirya, Bhishma went to Kashi, the kingdom of Kashi. So what happened is, so it was a very big court where thousands of kings were sitting, and the Kashi Raja had 3 daughters, Amba, Ambika, and Ambalika. The 3 daughters came together. Out of this, a small backstory is there. This Amba, one of the daughters, she was already having a love story. She was in love with a king called Salva, the king of Salva. He was also called the Saubhaga because he was having a flight. So this girl was he wanted to marry this Saubhaga, this Salva. What has happened? The 3 girls were coming together, having garland in their hands. Their consorts or the friends, they were explaining a biodata of each king who are sitting there. He is so and so. Yes, won so many wars. So he is having such a work. Like that, their greatness were sung. So Amba, Ambika, Ambalika were crossing all the people. At the time Bhishma was sitting, all the people in the court were afraid of Bhishma. They cannot raise the finger. They cannot ask him, why did he come? You have pledged brahmacharya, and why you are coming and sitting here? Nobody has the guts. Because if Bhishma starts fighting, they cannot match him. Number two is, whatever Bhishma does, he never goes against dharma. Everybody knows. So when this old man comes, there must be some reason. Let us wait. So Bhishma was also sitting as one of the prospective bridegrooms. So when these three girls came near Bhishma, obviously they even did not look at him. And the person who is explained about the Bhishma in a very polite way is Bhishmacharya, the greatest warrior, was vowed that he would never marry in his life and all. She was explaining, and these three girls crossed Bhishma with respect. Because he was just sitting as a witness, they thought. But Bhishma came with a different purpose. Immediately Bhishma jumped like a lion. He may be old, around 60 years old, but his body was like steel. Nobody can match him because of brahmacharya. His mind was clear, and if he takes weapons, no human being on this earth can match him. That was the greatness of Bhishma. He went and he grabbed all the three girls with his left hand, and then like toys, and then put it in the chariot, and then he started. Put it in the chariot. Of all the three girls, this Amba was having affair, love affair with the Saubhaga, the Salva. The Salva started fighting with Bhishma. Bhishma easily finished it. So he lost his chariot, all his armory and other things, all his army ran away. And Bhishma said, "You go, I leave you with life, just run away." Then this fellow escaped. With a lot of shame, he escaped. Because he was defeated in front of his lover, his would-be wife. That was the greatest an insult a Kshatriya can ever have on this earth. He went there. So Bhishma brought all the three girls to Hastinapura. When Bhishma brought all the three girls to Hastinapura, what has happened? Amba, Ambika, Ambalika. This Amba, what she should have done? The moment Bhishma touched her, she should have shouted, please leave me, I am in love with that person who is fighting for me. It is a normal practice if some king who has come for this Swayamvara, that if one person grabs the girl and going, all the others will join hands and fight. Suppose if all the others win, then this girl has to go with one of them. Or the person who was touched her and lifted her has to protect her. Then she goes with the person who has chosen her. This is the Kshatriya habit system in Kshatriyas. So here Bhishma having touched her, he protected. That was his dharma. So he may be taking the girls for his brother. That is a different story. But he is the savior at that place. What has happened is this Salva started fighting. Bhishma thought Salva is fighting for all the three girls. Had Bhishma known that this Amba is in a relationship with this fellow, Saubhaga, then he would have said, Amba, you get out. You go with him. He would not have even fought. But Amba is not openly telling it. When the fight was happening, when Bhishma touched him, after reaching Hastinapura, this girl was telling, I am already in love with that Salva. Then Bhishma said, why did you tell this now? Why did you not tell this earlier? When he touched, you could have shouted. You had the right as a girl. As a Kshatriya girl, you can always say, don't touch me. I am in relationship already with another person. Then I will not even touch you. Because it is not in our blood that we go and grab somebody who is not willing. We do it to show our power, our capacity, our bravery, our valor, and ensure that the girl likes us, that I am going to be a wife of the right man, or I am going to be on the protection of a righteous man, a warrior. That is, you could have shouted there only. In the Swayamvara Mandapa only you could have shouted. She had no answer. So Bhishma said, please, immediately start. He arranged a chariot for her, protection for her, army for her, returned her to Salva. Solvan received her, but said, Madam, I am sorry. Because you were quiet. I was fighting with Bhishma. So I thought you have chosen Bhishma for me. So you were in love with me. But when you went to Bhishma, you saw me defeated by Bhishma. So Bhishma won. Bhishma broke me and then took you. Now I don't have any face. I am in fact feeling ashamed to stand in front of you. Please go back to Bhishma. She comes back to Bhishma. Bhishma says, sorry. I am not in, it is for marriage proposal. I brought it for my brother only. You please ask my brother. And then Vichitravirya says, maybe I am a person who is not capable to fight, but I cannot marry a girl who has openly said, I am in relation with somebody else. It is not possible. So Vichitravirya, Bhishma, Salva, everybody washed their hands one by one. And this Amba was helpless because of her situation. Vichitravirya married Ambika and Ambalika. Vichitravirya married Ambika and Ambalika. We will come to Amba little later. Vichitravirya married Ambika and Ambalika. And of course, Amba was helpless. Amba threatened Bhishma. Bhishma said, sorry, I cannot marry you. It's not possible in my life. Whatever you want to do, you do. So Amba was so raging with what you call to kill Bhishma. Bhishma spoiled my life. So somehow I have to kill Bhishma. So when nobody helped her, she went to Parasurama, knowing that Parasurama was Bhishma's guru. And Parasurama was having a bad opinion about Kshatriyas. And what has happened is, Parasurama came. He wanted to tell Bhishma to marry Amba. So he came and declared war on Bhishma. Bhishma also put all his kavacha and other things. He took his bow and then he went for the war. He was not worried. His guru has come. He went and fell at his feet, took his blessing and said, sir, why did you come? Parasurama says, you have done injustice to Amba. Bhishma said, no, I did not do. I was very clear. I told her, you ask her, marry her. It is my order. Bhishma said, yes, I would have done, provided I am not married. But I already taken a vow in front of all devatas. You know it. You know it. Why did I get the name Bhishma? This is Parasurama telling. Otherwise, you know what will happen. Parasurama started threatening. Bhishma said, you killed all Kshatriyas when this Bhishma was not born. Had I been born at the time, Parasurama would never been there on this earth. I am pledging. You have never seen an original Kshatriya in your life. Like that, Bhishma also started talking to his guru. Then a war erupted. 18 days. Parasurama was fighting Bhishma. Nothing can be done. After 18 days, Parasurama declared to Amba, Madam, I am sorry. I cannot fight Bhishma anymore. There is no person on this world who can fight Bhishma. I am so proud of my disciple. He is such a righteous person. He is a yogi. He is a brahmachari. He is a Bhagavad Bhakta. He is a jnani. Nobody can beat him. He is a karma yogi. So don't waste your time. Then Parasurama blessed Bhishma and went back to Mahendra Parvata. And then Amba was having that wild fire raging in her heart. The revenge. I have to kill. I have to kill. What happens to Amba? What happens to Vichitravirya, Ambika, Ambalika? We will review in the next session before we progress into the rest of the life of Bhishma. It is a golden opportunity to relish, to know, to think, to talk about Bhishma's life. So many values. It is filled with full of values. And then it is already 1 o'clock. My time is over. So next week, Sunday, we will continue Bhishma's story and then his study. Gopika Jeevanasmaranam Govinda Govinda Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare.